This is the ISDT Smart Charger. And I know what you're thinking. Paul, you are way behind the times on this. This has been out forever and everybody's looked at it. Well, I don't care. I just got mine finally, and just because I, for whatever reason, have not had it, and I finally got it and I'm super excited about it. So I'm making a video about it and there's nothing you can do about it. So on the back here you have DC 9 to 32 volts, which means it can take up to 7S input. And on the other end you have your battery out, as well as 2 to 6S balance port. So you put your power in here, put your what you're going to charge in here. There's a fan in the bottom, and there's this big old clicky knob that you use to change and modify all of the settings on the charger. So if you plug in your power source on the back, I'm just using a 4-cell LiPo for now. What you can see is that there's a lot of different information here. You have the charge current, the charge amount, so the current, and the total current that's been put in, as well as the voltage of the input, the current voltage of the output, and the temperature of the smart charger itself. If you hold the button down, you get to system settings, and you can change the maximum amount of input power. So if you wanted to limit the amount that it was pulling from your input, you can set a minimum input voltage so that, you know, for example, if you're charging with the 4-cell LiPo, you don't want it to go below, 14.5 volts. You can set that and it will stop charging automatically so that you don't overdrive. And then you can change other things like the backlight volume and whatnot. So the power comes in when you need to plug something in or charge something up. So I'm going to, for example, use this primarily to charge tiny whoop batteries. So I have here a Kato multi-rotor high voltage LiPo, and that's what I want to charge on this. So I'm going to plug this in. This is actually charged already, so this will be for demonstration purposes. Plug this whole thing into the ISDT. Now, immediately it tells you the battery voltage, both here and here, of the cell. And because this is a 1-cell and it's charged to high voltage, it's saying 4.4, which is 3.5 rounded up. So if you go in here to the task setting, you can set it to charge, discharge, or storage. We're going to charge it, even though we don't need to. And then you can tell the type of battery. So you could say a high voltage, you could say a LiPo, you could say lithium-ion, life, lead acid, or nickel metal hydride. And so for these, because they're high voltage tiny watt batteries, we'll do 3.5, set it to 1 cell. When you have the balance plugged in, it automatically picks the cells. So, for example, this is a 5-cell pulse battery that I would potentially want to charge. If I plug that in and then plug the balance lead into the port here on the side. Wait for it. And then come back in here. It's automatically set to 5-cell. So it will pick it up automatically if you plug the balance port in. But since we didn't plug in a balance port with the tiny watt batteries, you have to set it manually. And you can pick a current. Because this is only a 0.2 amp battery, or 200 milliamps, we would set it to 2, 3, or 4 or so, depending on how fast we wanted to charge it. Then you just go down and click start. Now, because this is full, it might just complain. And if you don't have a balance lead plugged in, like you do again with tiny watt batteries, you just have to tell it, yes, do it without balancing, which makes sense because there's only 1 cell. So then while you're charging, you have 15.2 volts is the input source again. And again, that's not going to drop below 15 or 14.5 like we had set. We have the 4.3 volts of the cell that we're charging and the temperature of the machine. So we'll stop that right away because we don't need to. So just to demonstrate something that actually has a balance port, because you get a little bit of a different interface. Again, I've just plugged in this 5-cell LiPo. You can see that it's got almost 19 volts both there and there. Input source again. This is not going to make much sense to do this charge because our input source is not got enough power to charge the whole thing, but just proof of purchase here. we're going to charge it at 3.6, which is 2C for an 1800 milliamp 5 cell. And when we get to charge, we just hit start. It'll start drawing that power from the input and putting it out the output. It shows you the charge rate, and I'm guessing that we're going to actually draw enough from this battery soon such that you can see the automatic shut off. So you can see we set it to 3.6, it hit 3.6, and that's how much current it's pushing. You can see how much current has gone into it. And if we scroll down, after a while it will give you resistance information on each of the cells, so you can see how worn this battery is. And then finally down here you can again see the input source and then the target voltage. Let's see if there we go. So we can see that we've got 6, 4, 5 milliohms in the 1800 milliamp battery, so we can kind of determine the overall health of that pack over time by using this charger. One of the reasons I'm super excited about this charger is because I can obviously this is very small. I mean, this is a 4-cell LiPo, and then this is the size of the charger itself. And so that's going to fit really well in my bag. And so I've taken one of my parallel boards, I've cut off and made an XT60 battery end on this end. So I can plug that into the battery port on the IDST. If I wasn't bad at plugging in cables. So now we've got the power source hooked up. But then I've also got these really, really big pulse 6-cell 550 milliamp 6 cells. And I've just made these quick XT60 converter cables for this. And now I can plug that into my charger and balance charge 4 cells on that charger. And because this is a 150 watt charger that is running off of a DC power source, we can actually run this up to 8 amps to charge a 4-cell battery. So, you wouldn't want to do that with just one of these because that's probably a bit on the high side of C for charging. But if you had, for example, 4 or 5 packs that you wanted to charge, you could run that at 8 amps and charge each of them charge them all together at 1C. So, I'm continually thinking of new ways that I can be using this cool little charger, and I'm really excited about it right now. So I just wanted to go ahead and kind of just share that excitement and let you know that this is an option if it's something that you don't know about. One of the things that I'm thinking about for sure doing is that I have old laptop power supplies. You could cut the end off and put an XT60 on it and just use that to plug into your IDST and use that as a really convenient storage travel charger that you can use off of AC power. So lots of cool options for this thing. The price is right at, I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks. I have to double check on that. And I mean, it's just a cool little thing to keep in your bag. It will let you keep charging in the field. It'll work great for charging your tiny whoop batteries, and it'll allow you to stay flying.